Hello, hello. I am 2 minutes late because I had some technical difficulties there. I'm gonna wait a minute for some people to get on. Okay, a couple of things to discuss tonight. This is going to be a good call. Very information dense. I'll just wait another minute for some people to get on. But if nobody gets on, that's okay because it's gorgeous outside and I don't blame people after the weather that we've had. Okay. I'm going to try as fit as much as I can into this call. And I was asked to cover a few things, but I'll only be able to do that if I have time on the call. Otherwise, I'll have to do separate videos. Okay, so on the agenda this evening, I want to look at the daisy cutters, but also bacteria. They kind of go hand in hand. I want to look at alternate day fasting. I want to explain to you what G-flux is. I have some notes, so I am going to be referring to them to try to keep myself on track because you know how sidetracked I get. And then I was asked to cover one or two other things. I'll try. If we have enough time, I'll try. Okay, if you're on, please say hi because the last few times I've gone live, it's told me nobody was watching. Like right now, it says that nobody's watching me. But if I scroll down, I can see Carla's watching, Jackie, hi, Annie, hi, Annie, I'm glad you're on. This is going to be good to distract you. And Elda, hi, I hope you're having a nice 2 days. And I was saying, because I thought nobody was watching, that I don't blame you because it's beautiful out, but you're on, so stay on. So, we have a couple of things to cover. Okay. This is going to be information dense, but I want you to bear with me because this is all very important and very relevant to your journey, and it's stuff that nobody else is kind of speaking about or teaching or even understands. So the first thing we're going to look at, and Carla, I know you've tried this, is the daisy cutter and the whole idea around bacteria and increasing what's called our commensal bacteria. So first things first, commensal bacteria, these are the bacteria that live on your skin or on the surface of your body or within your mucosa, so within your body. And within doesn't just mean your gut or your intestines or your stomach. It also means within the tissues, within the mucus in your mouth, within your joints, all of that. So that's what commensal bacteria is. And now, to put it simply, we have good bacteria and we have bad bacteria. Very simply. Now, the good bacteria, they keep us lean, they keep us healthy, they keep us young, they keep us vibrant, they keep us full of life, they help us fight disease, they help us use calories properly, they help us partition nutrients properly. And the bad bacteria, well, of course, they make us fat and unhealthy. They weaken our immune system. They make us age faster. They also, and people forget about this, your bad bacteria can cause you to absorb more calories out of your food. So think about that for a second. I've always spoke about protein. If you have a steak, because a steak is hard to digest, you may only absorb 50% of the calories out of the steak because the other 50% you burned digesting the steak. Well, just for example, bad bacteria don't feed off steak, they feed off sugar firstly. But let's just say they did feed off steak. Now, if you're dominant in bad bacteria, you're not absorbing 50% of the calories, you're absorbing, say, 80% of the calories. I'm trying to get some sunlight in here. So this is firstly the importance of understanding the difference between the good and bad and why they're so important. I'm extra thirsty today for some reason, so you'll have to excuse me. I've already had about 5 liters of fluids. Shelly, hi. Holly, hi. Oh, there's loads of you. Andrea, hi. Shannon, hi. Michelle, you're not late. I was 2 minutes late, so we're part of the late gang. Late is the new cool. So, we've got our good bacteria, they make us lean and healthy. We've got our bad bacteria, they make us sick and fat, basically. So, not only that though, your bacteria play a huge part in your fat loss, not just now, but in the long term. But your bacteria, most of you know this, they play a huge part in your immune system, in your immunity. Immunity is a big part of fat loss and keeping body fat off in the long term. There's whole courses that you can get on immunity and fat loss. The immune code is one off the top of my head. Like, there's a lot of people out there recognizing the connection between having a strong immune system and fat loss on long term. So they go hand in hand. You can't negate one or the other. They do go together. Of course, if you have excess body fat, you have excess inflammation, you're producing excess hormones and toxins and cytokines, and of course that's going to impact your immune system. And then if you have a weakened immune system, the same happens. You're going to have an excess of bad bacteria, you're going to have excess inflammation, of course you're going to be more making poor food choices that weaken your immune system even more. Like, they very much go hand in hand, but a lot of it is down to this bacteria, and this is going to feed into the daisy cutters. And like I said, this is going to be very information dense. I'll watch out for questions, but I'm just going to try explain it in as easy terms as I can to help you understand. So, when we have these good bacteria, they do multiple things. They help boost white blood cells. They help reinforce our T helper cells. They help balance our hormones. They help us break down carbon. They help with endurance. They help with your lung capacity. So if you think of viruses that cause inflammation of the respiratory system, your good bacteria play a huge role there. Good bacteria also are anti-inflammatory. So if you have any sort of inflammation going on, your good bacteria are going to help with that. And an easy way to think of that would be like probiotics and prebiotics, sauerkrauts, kimchi, all that sort of stuff. So that's an easy way to kind of think of, like, or connect what you would have heard in the past between the benefits of bacteria, and especially for immunity. And immunity it's bigger than I think people realize right now. Yes, we had immune challenges for the last 2 years, but I think something bigger is coming, that we need to be more aware of immune system right now. But then if you are dominant in the bad bacteria, generally people who are overweight or obese, who are really unhealthy, they will have a dominance of these bad bacteria. And these bad bacteria, their phylum is referred to as firmicutes. You'll have heard me refer to them before in the podcasts and other videos. These guys basically crush your immune system. They weaken you from head to toe, from the inside to the out, but they also, like I said, they cause you to absorb more calories from the food that you eat. They leave you more susceptible to other pathogens coming in. They pretty much open the back door. Bad bacteria also cause aches and pains and joint soreness and shin splints and stuff people don't think about. You can have bacteria and you can think, oh, my infection is gone, and now all of a sudden, how come I've developed this shoulder pain and I just can't get rid of it? And it's the bad bacteria, excuse me, have migrated to your shoulders. Bad bacteria pathogens will migrate, and I've posted studies on this. True story. So it's very important that we're aware of this. Now, it sounds complicated. Hey, Tanya, it sounds complicated. And I suppose to an extent it is. But if we look at it the simple way, if you're doing a lot of what I recommend, and let me just get one thing across. I never said I knew everything. I've never claimed to know everything, but I have claimed to always say, like, if I don't know, I'll find out, or I'll do my best for people. I'll always try my best. When people ask me, I'll always find an answer if I can. So one of the things, well, some of the things that we can do to help push down the bad bacteria and increase the good bacteria, suppress and proliferate, is by focusing on a lot of fairy dust. So straight away, that's really, really easy. Two of the best things that you can do for your microbiome and your commensal bacteria is have some lemon juice and have some sea salt. So you're already doing that too, so that's easy. Vinegars, lots of bitter, sour, tart foods. I know I sound like a broken record. I've said this so many times. Bitter, tart, sour foods. Not only are these your sirtuin foods or your polyphenolic foods, these foods are astringent. They're part of your sirtuin foods. These foods are modbiotic foods. Modbiotic means, so you got your prebiotics, they feed your bacteria. You got your probiotics, these are the bacteria if you were to supplement with them. You've got postbiotics. Postbiotics are like the metabolites or the waste products from your bacteria's poop, shall we say. We'll get into that a bit more. That's kind of where sirtuin foods come in. And then you have symbiotics. So your symbiotics are where you'll get a supplement that has your prebiotic and your postbiotic together. And then you have your modbiotics, and modbiotics are food that help modulate your bacteria. So modbiotics, so they help modulate. So if they see something is too high, they help push it down. If they see these good bacteria need a boost, they help them grow and proliferate. So these are your modbiotics. I've given you PDFs and lists of food. You have all the tools. So don't stress. This is all being provided for you. This is just to reinforce what you already know. So always the easiest thing to think of when trying to support your microbiome or your gut bacteria or your commensal bacteria is bitter, tart, sour, astringent foods. That's always going to be best. Herbs, spices, vinegars, lemon, limes, berries, like stuff a lot of us like. Pickles. Why do you think I talk about pickles so much? It's not just because I like pickles. There's a reason I push you on pickles so much. Kombucha. Kombucha is a modbiotic. It's got acetic acid in it. Depending on the ingredients, if it's got ginger in it, that's going to be a modbiotic. If it's got mint, chlorophyll, they're all going to do their magics as well. That's why I've always said, like vinegar, you can't go wrong with vinegar. Go to town on vinegar. Vinegar on everything. Mustards, like, so this is easy. But this is very important. These foods that I'm talking about right now, these are also the foods that help you stay lean in the long term. They support long-term success. These foods prevent rebound weight gain. And then another few things that are important for your bacteria is exercise, of course, especially for our carbon eaters. Those would be our Akkermansia. Carbon eaters eat carbon. Your fat, body fat, are long chains of carbon. So think about that. The more Akkermansia you have, the more carbon they're going to eat, the more fat they're going to eat. These are aerobic bacteria, so that would make you think, well, I have to do cardio all the time. But no, obviously, many of us know there's a fine line between cardiovascular exercise and stress, because stress will feed our bad bacteria. So there's a very fine line. Annie, did you delete that question? It's gone, but I did read it before you deleted it, so I'll answer it now in a second. So yeah, our Ackermans are very important. I'm going to get more to them now. Annie did ask which kombucha is better. Like, all kombucha is going to have benefits. Firstly, it's going to have acetic acid in it. So that's that. It's the acetic acid, which is a vinegar, that's the benefit. That's part of the benefit of apple cider vinegar, acetic acid. That's the whole concept of vinegar. Bitter, sour, sour. Bitter, tart, sour. Yes, I realized what I said. And then, depending on the ingredients in the kombucha, they do add extra sugar to kombucha nowadays to sell it, basically. In the past, your kombucha would just taste like apple cider vinegar or vinegar. But nobody would buy that, especially not as beverage. So they started adding extra sugar and flavors and sweeteners and all to it. So therefore, it moved from a vinegar into a more sugary drink. That's why I cap it around 100 to 150 mils, but I still want you to get the benefits of it. So I'm still giving you a small dose, like a dose of medicine. So you'll hear me, excuse me, you'll hear me talk about the Rise Mint chlorophyll one a lot. Yes, I know it's not locally made, but that's not really my priority. My priority is to get people healthy. So I go with the mint chlorophyll because mint calms the central nervous system, supports anxiety, aids digestion. Then chlorophyll upregulates stem cell production. It's an internal deodorizer. It helps remove cellulite. It helps detoxify heavy metals, hormones, toxins. Chlorophyll, though, is a blood builder. And this is important. There's one or two of you listening that I want you to hear what I'm saying. I know many of you do supplement with chlorophyll for specific reasons. Chlorophyll is a blood builder. That comes from the stem cell aspect of things. So chlorophyll helps your body produce red blood cells. Obviously, that's important for iron and oxygen circulation. But when you make red blood cells, you make white blood cells. And Margot will testify to this. We were able to boost her white blood cell count by bringing in chlorophyll. You can't isolate white blood cells and just increase them through a food. You have to build red blood cells. It's from red blood cells that you get your white blood cells. So that's why I pick chlorophyll. But let's say you got a ginger. I think there's a ginger and cayenne one. So you got ginger, which is a very strong anti-inflammatory. And then you've got the cayenne, which is thermogenic food. It's also a sirtuin food. So most of them are going to have benefits. Now, I have seen some made that are like just mango kombucha. Mango has its benefits in whole food form. When it's been refined, it doesn't have many benefits. Like when it's been broken down into a juice form or refined sugar form, it's lost most of its benefits, to be honest. So at that stage, you really just get the benefits of the modbiotic vinegar in itself. You're not getting any extra benefits from extra ingredients, if that makes sense. But there's a lot out there. Like if you're kind of sticking more towards the kombuchas that are made with herbs and spices, and there's a nice one with rose hip in it. I've seen a few other ones. You can't really go wrong. There's a brand from Costco that people like, Dr. something or other. I don't know what it's called, but that seems to be good as well, like with some good flavors. So now that we understand the importance there of the bacteria and why we want to push our commensal bacteria, like push the growth of our good bacteria and suppress the bad for many reasons, like right down to how your skin looks. Obviously, if you've got dermatitis or something, then bacteria is going to be a big part of that. SIBO, yeast infections, BV, like this is very important, and women deal with these a lot. That I spoke to a woman yesterday, and she gets UTI infections every month. Like, one, what a pain in the butt that is, literally. It would just be a nightmare. How are you supposed to live if you constantly have infections every month? So, like this is really important. The point here, the point of, let's just get this straight, the point of people coming to me and working with me is not to be mediocre, it's not to be average, it's to commit to learning and showing up for themselves and being their absolute best. I cannot stress this enough. I feel health issues are about to get a whole lot worse for the population, and I want to help people prevent that before it even happens. I want people to take their health really seriously. I know it's a struggle. God, I have my days. I have my days where I'm like, just leave me alone. Just want to sleep all day and watch TV. But you got to think of the long-term picture. Okay, now I've said that, I'm going to read a part from the Masters platform. So Tanya and a few of you that haven't seen the Masters platform, this will be interesting for you. This is out of module 1. And this is kind of connected to what I said yesterday on a post in here. I said protein helps slow down the absorption of carbs or sugars. This is the idea. So the section is called Calorie Harvesting, and Ursula asked me to elaborate. So here I am elaborating. This is module 1 under Calorie Harvesting. So basically, calorie harvesting or energy harvesting means the energy you net from digestion. So most of you probably haven't even never heard of this before I've spoke about it, and I have been speaking about it for quite some time now. So when you think of net digestion, so the energy you get from net digestion, that's like gross income versus net income. So the calories coming in, they're your gross income. And then the energy harvest, the energy you take from those foods or that calories, that's your net income. Just because you consume an apple, let's say it's 100 calories, just because you consume 100 calories does not mean that the energy you're absorbing or getting out of that is the 100 calories. And it's definitely not. It could never be. This is called a wobble factor, but we might come back to that another day. So all of the newer food innovations in things like protein bars, they rely on manipulating energy harvest. If you read the label, you'll see net carbs, which means calories in doesn't always mean that it's equal to the calories extracted from it, basically. So there are many factors that play a part in how much energy you harvest from food, but one of them is going to be your bacteria. The other factors would be if you pair that food with protein, if you pair that food with apple cider vinegar, how you cook the food is going to impact how many calories. Most of the time on labels, on the nutrition label, what you're seeing, the macros, the calories, that's based on raw food. That's before it's even cooked. You may recall a couple of weeks ago I did a video and a post on Like, should you track raw or cooked protein? And basically, it's the same, it's just less water, but that's just protein. But some other foods, when you cook them, you actually degrade the fibers or you increase the sugars, so you really can change things. Some foods you can lose calories and nutrients through the water. So there is that factor there. This is your wobble factor. How you digest food, which is where bacteria comes in as well. If you eat something and you immediately have diarrhea, you're not going to absorb as many calories out of that, and you're definitely not going to get nutrition. But if you have an abundance of bad bacteria, you may absorb more calories out of an apple than I will absorb. And then if you just look at an apple, for example, apple is very water dense. It's got that resistance fiber. It's got the pectin. So there's a lot. So just want you to be aware of that. Even in Chronometer, the numbers will never be 100% accurate. Never, ever, ever. Never. Because even if they were accurate to the food, an app will never know how your body digests food. So I hope that makes sense. Now, Chronometer is way more accurate than MyFitnessPal is, but I know some of you like MyFitnessPal. But regardless, there's other apps, but it doesn't matter what it is. It'll never, ever, ever be 100% accurate because your body's going to absorb food differently. Your body's going to utilize food differently. You'll understand more when we get to the section about G-flux, which I'm moving on to in a minute. So back to the calorie harvesting though. Bacteria play a big part in how much energy we harvest or extract from food. So one, we have our Akkermansia muciniphila, which is the one I spoke about a few minutes ago, which is a carbon feeder, which means that it feeds off carbon in our mucus layers. How do we make more mucus? Well, we usually do that through cardiovascular exercise. You know, when you get the lactic acid builds up in your chest and your mouth gets all watery, that is your body producing more mucus. And the carbon, they also feed on the carbon released when fat stores are broken down. Excuse me, sparkling water. So that's carbon released through fat stores being broken down through either exercise or fasting, and fasting increases Akkermansia as well. So Akkermansia is very hard to feed directly, but you can feed them through apple skins, through the pectin and the polyphenol, and especially Granny Smith. Now is it making sense why I push certain things so much? And then this bacteria, the Akkermansia, it lives in your gut, and it feeds off also not only apple skins and mucus, but it feeds off the, shall we say, poop or the metabolites of this next bacteria, which you'll have heard of. That's your bifidobacteria. Think of Actimel and probiotics and stuff. They always brag about bifidobacteria, but it's very easy to make your own. So these guys feed and ferment off your prebiotic foods, which is green beans. Again, why do I always say green beans? Asparagus, grapefruit. I have a post coming tomorrow on my business page about grapefruit. Berries. Why do I always talk about berries? And then green banana. I don't talk about that too much because basically it's very hard to get anyone to eat a green banana. They're very, very astringent, but that goes back to the astringent aspect of things I was talking about. So when you eat these types of foods, they create butyrate. So butyrate is a short chain fatty acid that helps to heal the mucus layer, and it feeds the bifidobacteria, which then poops out metabolites which feed the Akkermansia. And this feedback loop also reduces inflammation in the gut and across the whole body. As a side note, you'll have heard me speak about colostrum before. Bifidobacteria feed off that, and they also feed off HMOs, which is human milk oligosaccharides. So you would get that from breast milk or baby formula, but you can buy HMOs just in the supplement. Most people don't. That's for the more extreme biohackers. but the option is there. Bifidobacteria. Here's an interesting thing. Bifidobacteria have been shown to be in abundance in kids. This is why kids have so much energy. They have a high amount of bifidobacteria. So for those of you doing the 2-day core plan or the daisy cutters this week, or have tried it in the past, you'll notice you may have some sleep interference, or you might feel a little bit wired. And I know this happened to Tara Pickford when she did the 2-day core plan. She couldn't sleep, and you get a lot more energy because we're boosting your bifidobacteria. And this, doing these core plans and daisy cutters, it shows you this is how easy it can work. It does work. You can feel it, you can see it. It works. So you can tilt these bacteria in your favor, and then you reap a whole lot of rewards, but you also get the extra energy. And obviously that can be a challenge because I too want you to sleep as well. So encouraging the growth of these two bacteria species tilts conditions in your favor and supports long-term success. So Akkermansia will help heal your gut along with the butyrate. So then the surface area of your gut gets reduced or decreased. So that means less food energy gets absorbed when you have a smaller surface area. So the more Akkermansia you have, not only do you burn more fat and you're healthier, but they help you absorb fewer calories. I'm not going to go through the whole energy harvesting thing, but you can see how this is so important. So you can learn how to manipulate the calories and offset certain foods. And when I say offsetting, you've heard me talk about offsetting your refeed day. Basically, offsetting means if I'm going to have a lot of sugar, how can I manipulate things so I don't get so much sugar glucose absorbed, I don't get such a big blood sugar impact, I don't get a big insulin response? Like, how can I offset that? And so a few ways we do that is our apple cider vinegar, berberines, those would be the two most common ones, you know. Berries, whey protein, not any other protein, unfortunately. All the research shows us it is whey protein, but protein, like yesterday, because protein slows down digestion, it can slow down how fast you absorb sugar, therefore you absorb less sugar over time. So that can help with blood sugars too. So that's what offsetting means. And one last thing before I move on to that. One mechanism impacting net calories is carbohydrate metabolism. What I was just saying about like a refeed day, for example, and offsetting the sugars. The net energy from carbs varies dramatically depending on your gut bacteria. In recent years, numerous science papers have established that key enterotypes of gut bacteria, so different types of bacteria, correlate with weight gain, obesity, and cancer. I want you to remember this. I want you to remember how important these bacteria are for preventing diseases, not just now. You might feel young and great, and I'm too tired to think about disease, but the future will come to all of us, and we just want to stack conditions in our favor. So there's lots of information, and I'll always answer your questions. So okay, this is just at the end for Tanya and whoever else doesn't have access to the master's guide. This is at the very end of this section. It says pair this with what you just learned, boost your commensal bacteria, boost your bacteria. Pair this with your basic eating style to optimize results. At breakfast, you have some polyphenols. That will be your fairy dust and berries and your apple cider vinegar. Lunch, you're having resistant starches. So that would be your salad greens, your apples. You'll get a bit of resistant starch out of berries, pears, sweet potato, stuff like that. Then dinner, you're having your cruciferous green vegetables as well. At lunch, resistant starch can also come from raw asparagus, grapefruit, raw green beans. Like, green vegetables that haven't been cooked, basically. But when you start going towards the raw cruciferous vegetables, you might have some digestion issues. Okay, let's move on from that because I want to watch what we're doing. So, another thing I've been trying out for the last, say, 4 weeks, and I'm apprehensive to say this, so don't jump the gun and just do this, but I want you to know, because I'm always doing different case studies and trying out different things. And I actually do reach out to people privately and say, hey, would you like to be a guinea pig for this? So, but I've been doing this myself. And maybe someone else has been doing it. She hasn't touched base with me in a while. But, so alternate day fasting. So I came across a lot of research about the benefits of doing alternate day fasting over the age of 40. And no, I'm not over 40, but I did want to give it a go and see where the results would lead me. So alternate day fasting is kind of what it says on the tin. You fast every other day, or you might fast for, say, 3 days out of the 7 days of the week. So that's generally between, you're fasting 36 to 40 hours, kind of that time frame, a couple of times a week. And then on your feeding days, you're pretty much eating ad libitum. So ad libitum means you eat as much as you want, basically. Now, this doesn't mean that you binge. You eat, maybe if you're finding it hard with hunger on your feeding days, you can eat more. You can eat extra. Eat till you're satisfied. And maybe if you have a treat or two, it's not going to be a big deal, but your focus is still obviously on your healthy food. But if you do end up having a treat, it's not a big deal. And then you do your long fast after that. But a big part of this is exercise as well. So on those feeding days where you're eating more calories and maybe an extra treat or two, and I'm looking away saying that because I hate giving you guys any sort of leeway that I think might be dangerous. But you're also exercising more on those feeding days. You do exercise on your fasting days as well, but a bit more on your feeding days, and you'll understand now when we get to G-flux aspect of things. And what I've seen with this is, well, basically, I've put on a lot more muscle. I'm a lot more buff, I'll use that word, than I was a month ago. And I've been stopped by several people saying, whoa, like, you look amazing, and my strength has increased because obviously I'm getting extra calories on the feeding days. This probably makes sense to some of you now, why you see me say, oh, I'm fasting today. So I've been able to put on a lot more muscle because I'm having these extra calories, and on those days I'm exercising more. But on the fasting days, I'm cutting the calories, so I'm forcing my body to go into fat burning mode. But because I had the extra calories the day before, my metabolism is increased on the fasting days, kind of like when we fast on our Sundays. Now, it can be a bit of a mind mess because when I eat the extra calorie days, there's no point in looking at the scales the next day because we know carbs bind to water. So you've got water retention going on. That's why it took so long for me to talk about it. You need a longer time frame to give your body time to adjust and see the results. I like it. I feel it would be beneficial for some people, but there's obviously a lot of discipline required to fast between, let's just say, the average of 40 hours 3 times a week. Like, that does require discipline. I know 1 or 2 of you could do it. But then on my feeding days, I'm making sure I'm getting a lot of protein. I got my fairy dust, I've got my greens, I'm getting my protein shake, my apple cider vinegar, my medicinal mushrooms. But then maybe I'm having some extra carbs because I'm trying to build more muscle, which will make more sense now, literally in a second. But I've been doing this for a few weeks and I've lost body fat. I can see immense physical changes when I look in the mirror now. Like there's been big changes to my composition. My legs are leaner, my cellulite is less. Part of that I put down to the chlorophyll as well. I feel better. But one last thing on this, the days I do have the extra calories, like the feeding days, the extra sugar kind of messes with my sleep a bit. So I still have to be conscious to stop eating around 4. So again, that's another reason why it took me so long to tell you about this, like 4 weeks, because I had to see, like, to manipulate things. I still on those feeding days need to stick within my feeding window if I'm to get my sleep. And so yeah, there's a bit of trial and error, but it's a valuable tool. I think it can be a valuable tool for several of you, because when you fast and let's say you're stressed, well, one, if you fast and you're stressed, fasting can take a load off your plate because you don't need to worry about eating or taking food out of the freezer or cooking or what I make. So that removes stress in itself. But then if you fast and you're stressed with work and kids and maybe exercise, the next day when people get off a fast, not everyone, but some people I've noticed they'll binge or they'll overeat because they have the hormonal imbalance. When you have a plan set out that you're going to do alternate day fasting, if you do overeat the next day, that's part of the plan, and it can work in your favor rather than be detrimental and set you off on this out of control spiral. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Thank you, Annie. I always say I look good because of the sun, when the sun comes out. So I should look terrible now because the sun never comes out. I was telling the guy in the gym, he just got back from Maui, and I was like, oh my god, look at the tan on you. He's like, I'm just back from Maui. I heard you had a storm. I was like, we didn't have a storm. We have what's called eternal winter in Canada. We don't have any other season. It's eternal winter. That's all it is. So, but no, Annie, now that you say it, you, I'm sure many of you know the anti-aging benefits of fasting, the cellular repair, the stem cells, the apoptosis, autophagy, all the stuff that basically allows your body to clear out shit and then rebuild new, healthier skin and tissues and muscles and everything like that. So I have actually noticed a big change in my skin, Annie, from doing this. Like I'm doing like 40 to 42 hour fasts 3 times a week, and then I'm probably some days doing extra 20-hour fasts in between. And like I said, when I'm feeding, I'm still having my apple cider vinegar, my tulsi, my collagen, my medicinal mushroom. I'm still having good stuff, but I might have some extra carbs. I am having extra carbs because I was trying to build muscle, and I've noticed a big change in my skin, but also my hair. You can't see it, well, you can. My hair has gotten really long in the last month. Like, not really long, but I've at least grown 2 inches on my hair in the last month of doing this. And I put it down to, on those feeding days, I'm having extra protein and extra carbs and nutrients. So I'm having a lot of nutrition on these feeding days. And then because I'm exercising more, that's signaling to my body where to put this extra nutrition. And then when I'm fasting, then I'm upregulating stem cell production and regeneration and growth and all of that. I'm still eating less than most people out there, but for my body, it's more, which leads us into the idea of G-flux. Okay, so I wrote some notes because, as you've seen, I go off on a tangent. Okay, so let's check for questions first before I jump into this. No questions, okay. All right. G-flux is basically the basic law of the universe. Energy can't be created nor destroyed, only converted. A physiological system or as physiological systems, we are always trying to balance energy. So basically what G-flux is the amount of calories that you turn over. So most people think, not you guys are very educated, but most people think energy in is from your food, and then energy out is from life and movement. And we know that hormones play a big part in that as well, and your sleep and all that. But where G-flux comes in, it's not just energy in is from your food and the energy out is life and movement. Your G-flux is the calories that you turn over, that you utilize, that you use for different processes. Like I was saying with the wobble room around calorie harvesting and how many calories you absorb or harvest from the food based on your bacteria, or how you cook the food, or how you digest the food. G-flux is part of that, but G-flux is more in regards to calories and movements. So when you start to stack the idea of G-flux in your favor, you can start to change your body composition and your health, of course, if the food is good food, like nutritious. But you need to find a balance between that energy intake and your energy expenditure, back to that trial and error again. So G-flux again is the energy turnover in your body. So you take in energy, and then what is your body doing with it? So keeping your G-flux high for many people can be vital to maintaining a lean body and staying strong. If you don't eat enough calories, you're going to find it hard to be very strong, which is what I was saying with the alternate day fasting. I'm stronger now. Like, I can lift very crazy weights, which is good because I want to be strong. But if you don't eat enough, you can't do that for multiple reasons. So, you've heard me speak about move more, eat more, move less, eat less. That's kind of the idea behind G-flux. So the more that you move, the more you can eat. The less that you move, the less you eat. Now here's the important part. There does have to be a balance. The more you move, the more you can eat. Because you're going to end up causing your body to partition nutrients in a certain way. Basically utilize nutrients in a specific way. The less you eat and the less you move, you can actually slow down your metabolism. We've spoke about this many times. This is why I enforce refeeding and have you maintain some carbs at lunch. But even if you're eating less calories, if you're not moving or exercising, your metabolism will slow down. So the chances are you're going to store more calories than somebody who's eating more calories and burning more calories. So here's an example. If somebody is consuming 1,300 calories, which seems to be an average for people now, if you're consuming 1,300 calories and you're only burning 1,300 calories a day, chances are you're going to maybe maintain, and I say maybe, if you're not moving, if you're not exercising or moving enough during the day, you may actually end up storing some of those calories because your metabolism will be working slower. But let's say you have someone who is eating 1,300 calories and they're burning 1,300 calories, but they're moving throughout the day. Chances are that person is going to lose weight because they're burning through those calories in a different way. They're signaling to their body, like, I've been hiking all day, let's partition or move these calories into my quads and my glutes. Or I've been roofing all day. Let's move all these calories into my shoulders and my upper back muscles. But then if you take that person who's 1300 calories and you increase them to 1700 calories, which sounds scary to some people. So I say to you, okay, we're going to boost your calories to 1700, which is an extra 400 calories. And that person's like, oh no, I'm going to start gaining. But no, I want you also to add on an extra 400 calories of exercise a day. So that could be an hour of dance aerobics, it could be an hour of fast walking or something. Anyway, that person now, they've increased their calories and they've increased their expenditure. So they're going to change their body and lose even more weight than they would have just having 1300 calories and exercising. So 1300 calories and exercising, they're kind of barely getting by. They are seeing results like fat loss results, but they're not seeing much change in body composition. And this is where one, you have to find the balance aspect of things, but also you kind of have to not let the scales mess with you too much, because if we take that person and we give them 1700 calories a day, that's an extra 400 calories. That's quite a lot. That could be like an extra apple. So 4 extra squares of chocolate and maybe let's say half a bag of hard bite chips. Like that's 400 calories can be quite a lot extra depending on where you're getting it from. But we're also we're asking them, I want you to burn an extra 400 calories through exercise as well. Now what you're doing is you're sending a metabolic signal to your body. And this metabolic signal, it changes your energy balance. It changes this flux. This is the G-flux. And it can be profoundly changed regardless of the energy balance state that you put your body into. So if we take this individual eating 1700 calories a day and burning 1700 calories a day through extra exercise, that person is not going to gain any weight. They'll lose weight, but they'll also change their body composition. They'll start to build more muscle, they'll grow more hair, they'll regenerate. They're sending these different signals. They're seeing an increase in their metabolic rate. They're increasing lean body mass. So this is a good way to increase muscle as well. Eat more, exercise more. And there's loads of posts on this in here. Eat more, exercise. So your weight on the scales might not always change, but your body composition and your appearance definitely does change a lot, like a lot. And that's the power of G-flux. So eat more, exercise more, and basically build a better body. Conversely, if you eat more and you're less active, then chances are you're going to gain weight and slow down your metabolism. And those of you in the Muscles and More group, I posted that graph yesterday that basically showed how our metabolism can slow down as we get older. It's not because we're getting older. It's because as we get older, if we don't maintain a healthy lifestyle and continue to exercise, we experience sarcopenia and dynopenia. We lose our muscle. Not only do we lose our muscle, we lose our strength, we lose our bone density. That's why your metabolism slows down. And then as people get older with more demands and everything, we get tired, we stop exercising, we lose our motivation. Like, there's obviously a lot to stay on top of. But this is the magic of G-flux for some people. And if you pair that with alternate day fasting, like, you can really be on to something magical here, along with like your supplements too, and then getting to bed early. Some of you might this might sound boring. It depends on your health goals, of course, and how you want to live your life and have your body. But for some of us, we're like, this sounds great. This is going to make me strong, give me the body I want. I'm going to feel good. I'm going to have loads of energy. So, just looking at this graph here. So, if we have someone with an intake of 2,000 calories a day and they're inactive and their basal metabolism, basically getting through the day, they're burning 2,000 calories. That's just their basal metabolic rate and just walking around in and out of the car, up and down the stairs. Like, but that's just life. That's not specific activity. So their difference, their intake and output is equal. So the effects of that is muscle loss, fat gain, poor recovery, poor fitness, poor health. The next one is someone who consumes 2,500 calories. They're moderately active. They're burning 2,500 calories a day. And just moderately means maybe like an hour of exercise a day along with their lifestyle. So moderately active, and doesn't even mean it's intense. It could just be a yoga class, it could just be a walk, like moderately active. And they're consuming 2,500 calories, so they're burning 2,500 calories and consuming it. Their intake output is 0 still. These people generally will they'll maintain their weight, they'll maintain their muscle, they'll have adequate performance, adequate health, adequate fitness. But next, if you go to someone who's eating 3,000 calories, now this is going to be mostly men, most women, unless it's refeed day, we're not hitting 3,000 calories, although we could. Someone who's eating 3,000 calories, who's highly active, so they're doing weight training, they're doing some cardio, they're maybe also doing something in the evening like a walk. It doesn't have to be miserable, it could be stuff you enjoy. Now their energy input is 3,000, their energy output is 3,000, but they're highly active. They're sending a different signal to their body. The effects that they get from that is muscle gain, fat loss, improved recovery, better athletic performance, better strength, better health, just feeling better overall. So again, this is eat more, exercise more, but you have to exercise more because you have to send the signal. So in other words, to get and stay lean in many people, it's probably better to exercise as much as you can while eating more. And that's, I've always said to you, your heaviest training and exercise days should be on your refeed day. That way we can shuttle more nutrients into the muscles and get you more progress. More exercise means improved nutrient partitioning, insulin sensitivity, protein turnover. Basically means you're telling protein how to be used and what to rebuild. Tissue regeneration and remodeling. And then the more nutritious your food consumption is, then the healthier your sympathetic nervous system's going to be, the healthier your brain health and mental health is going to be, which is very important. You're going to have an increased metabolism. You're just going to feel better overall. Your hunger, energy, cravings, your heck will be in check. Your smack will be in check. So sleep, mood, energy, hunger, cravings, that'll be in check. So how do we increase G-flux? So accomplishing higher energy expenditure can be done in different ways. Just let me see, is anyone still watching, or am I even just talking to myself? So increasing your energy expenditure. Well, one, you can check your genetics and see that your parents have given you good genetics for a fast metabolism. So G-flux again is energy turnover, but it does mean like energy turnover means your body's using energy better to heal, regenerate, grow you, but also give you a fast metabolism. So the better your G-flux is, the better your metabolism is going to be. Then you geometrically increase your size of your food portions, but you also increase your daily and weekly amount of physical activity. You're not going to jump the gun and immediately go, I'm going to add in 500 calories and I'm going to exercise more. You would do it in increments. You'd slowly allow your body to adapt and titrate up and titrate up. So, DNA, genetics, like I just mentioned. I know we're gone over time. We'll just do it a few more minutes. I've always said that unfortunately some of us are predisposed to having poor genetics and we gain weight easier, and we basically just have to work harder to lose weight. I am one of those people. It's very easy for me to gain weight. I have to exercise harder if I want to maintain this body. And you know, I think I'm still quite young. The thoughts that this is my life, it is my life forever. If I want to maintain this body and health, this is my life forever. So, but we're not stuck with the genetics and DNA. We can stack conditions in our favor. I still have 8 of you watching. It says I have no one watching. It didn't change at all. I don't know. Maybe Elon Musk has bought Facebook as well and things can go back to normal. You definitely got me curious about the alternate day fasting. Yeah, the alternate day fasting and the G-flux. I think this can be very beneficial for some people. I really think this can be very, very beneficial. And as always, I'm always researching and looking into everything all the time. But even if you do have this DNA or genetic predisposition to gaining weight or being overweight, it doesn't mean that that's it, that you're stuck there forever. You can manipulate things. You can increase your energy expenditure, so increase your exercise, physical activity, movement. I say movement a lot. Your NEAT, so your non-exercise associated thermogenesis, so just stuff we do during the day. Park further away from the store, take the stairs instead of the elevator, get up and get the remote control yourself instead of asking someone to get it for you. Like all of this stuff adds up, and the data suggests that you start to reap the benefits from G-flux around 5 hours a week. So it sounds like a lot, but adding in 5 more hours of exercise a week can start to increase your metabolism, and then you get to eat more food and maybe some more foods that you enjoy. Obviously, we're focused on health, but you get to have extra foods, which can play a big part in cravings and hunger. And look at stress. Look at how many people are overeating or having days of binges, and it's really getting in the way of consistency and results. I've noticed it. You know who you are. These tools may be very helpful, because if you're starving yourself and you throw in stress and overtraining, that's where the hormonal issues, the energy fluctuations happen, the overeating, the binges. So these are very helpful tools. So I may put together another video on G-flux to help explain it more. But G-flux again is basically energy turnover. When you consume food, the higher your G-flux is, your energy turnover, the faster your metabolism is, but the better your body's going to utilize that nutrition and partition it and put it into certain areas. And Andrea, the last few times we've seen each other, I've said, like, you need to eat more. We've seen it help with your performance in your workouts, but also with your recovery too. So yeah. Okay. That is that. There was another thing about ingredients to avoid, but I think I'm going to do a video on that, like a separate video. So I'll do another separate video on this and on G-flux. So the ingredients and the G-flux. That's what I'll do. Does anyone have any questions before I let you go? I knew this was going to be very information dense. I've been speaking a lot. So a goal could be to add an additional hour of exercise for 5 of 7 days. Well, you could start off, Holly. Loads of people have Fitbits and Apple Watches. I have a Whoop that I use. The Whoop would be higher end. Um, what you could do is just increase your calories by 100 or 2 calories for the first week or two, but make sure that your tracker is telling you that you've burned or you've expended 200 calories. It doesn't have to be an hour of exercise as what you think, like an extra hour of running or weightlifting or anything. It could be like, this is actually easier at this time of the year. It could be an extra couple of hikes a week, or it could be now it's spring, an extra hour of spring cleaning, washing the floors, washing the windows. Annie, we were speaking about painting. You could paint your house. You'll burn a lot of calories doing that. Or dance. I like to dance, sing, just move more. If you have a fitness tracker, you can see if you're moving more. So you get to eat more, but you're moving more. Those are the key words: eat more, move more. So here's some tips how to increase physical activity. Um, Add in, you could, if you want to go down the aspect of actual exercise, you can add in some sprints or intervals. I'm a big fan of them. Circuit training. You could add in an extra yoga class. Like, this can be enjoyable stuff. It doesn't have to be miserable, especially at this time of the year. There's a lot. Go bike for an hour, a couple of nights a week. Does that make sense, Holly? But if you have a fitness tracker of some sort, that's going to be helpful because you'll be able to see. So my Whoop right now says that I have burnt 1,700 calories. That's kind of my average. Like, by the time I go to bed, I'll be around 2,000 calories of energy I've burnt. That's kind of my average. That's the average for women. You have to remember that I lost a lot of weight, so I take that into consideration as well with my metabolism. Um, and then when I'm sitting doing group calls or phone calls, I'm not burning a lot of calories either. And I'm always conscious of that because I sit a lot creating content, recording podcasts. So then when I'm not sitting, I'm like trying to move more. Just being conscious of it. And that's a big thing for me because I obviously do a lot of phone calls and stuff. I don't like to do walking calls because I think that's rude too. So anything else before I let you guys go? There's a lot of information in this. You're welcome, Elda. You're welcome, Jackie. So go back and listen, especially about the bacteria aspect. There's a lot of good stuff in here for helping with fat loss and long-term fat loss and health. You've got the alternate day fasting. You've got this idea of eat more, exercise more. On the days you move less, eat less. You also have like how to do the calorie harvesting, the importance of bacteria, for immunity and preventing disease. There's a lot of information in this call. I knew there was going to be. I'm tired now. I'm going to let you guys go. If you've any questions, pop them below and I'll respond. This video for sure is going straight up to YouTube, so I'm actually going to make it public and share it with everyone. So if you know anyone that would find this interesting, share it with them. There's stuff out there they don't know, so they need to know. Like I said, I'm worried people's health's going to get worse over the next while, so we need to be proactive and help each other. Okay, good night. Bye-bye. Have a nice evening. Go for a walk. Start working on that G-flux, Holly. Yeah, time for a walk, and I'll let you guys go. Bye-bye.